I want to make abundantly clear, if Trump's 10-point plan can be adopted, it would be terrific, outstanding. Outstanding, no question about it. No question about it. If Trump won't change his mind, if he'll stick to his plan. Well, Donald Trump gave a speech in Phoenix last night and has a 10-point plan. I'll let you hear some of it, but the 10-point plan is build a wall, point 1. End catch and release, point 2. Zero tolerance for criminal aliens, point 3. Block funding for sanctuary cities, point 4. Cancel Obama executive orders on immigration, that's point 5. Suspend visas from certain countries with inadequate screenings, point 6. Point 7, ensure countries take back immigrants the United States deports. Point 8, complete the biometric entry-exit visa tracking system. Point 9, turn off the jobs and benefits magnet. Point 10, reform legal immigration. I would have had point 11, wherever possible, no federal subsidies or benefits. That's an outstanding plan. It sounds like the Ted Cruz plan, quite frankly, doesn't it, Mr. Producer? When Cruz brought all this stuff up, he was told he was for legalization because he didn't favor deporting everybody. Now, if we can do just what Trump is proposing, this country would be far better off than it is right now. There's no question about it. It's an outstanding plan. But what do you do with the people who are still here? He said they need to go back to their home country and then reapply and come through the front door with their visas, and that we will not raise the visa cap to accommodate them. In other words, Congress sets a visa cap or puts a cap on immigration based on a number of factors, so we're not going to just add more visas so that people can come right back. It's quite obvious Jeff Sessions had an impact here. But then he also says, now once we have all these things in place, then we'll figure out what to do with the people who've been here and are here and have not broken any other laws. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm not following this. You said everybody has to leave the country and then come back, go through the legal processes. So what if somebody doesn't agree to leave the country and then come back through the legal processes? Are you going to deport them? He won't say. Or will he? Is that where he's soft? Well, we'll find out in a minute. Again, I want to make it clear so I'm not misunderstood in any respect. This is an excellent proposal. Excellent. And anything compared to Hillary Clinton, who believes in anarchy on the border because she's all about power, empowering the Democrat Party, doesn't give a damn what it does to the country, the demographics, the culture, anything else. She could care less. She has hers, and that's all that matters. Now, I should say in advance also, Trump was attacked. Before I heard the speech, because I didn't hear it live, before I heard the speech, went back and listened to it, it was said that there he was, the old Trump screaming. He wasn't screaming. It was a rally. You want to hear something that's like, like nails against a chalkboard, listen to Hillary Clinton. But this is a well-conceived plan. It's not the first time a plan of this sort has been proposed. As I said, it reminds me of the Cruz plan. Very similar to the Bush plan. And all it does, ladies and gentlemen, is enforce current law, upholds the Constitution, and punishes those people under current law, not all of them, some of them. And so they compared this to the Third Reich, the people at the rally as Hitlerians. They basically accused Trump of being a Klansman or a Hitler. And this is sick. Well, here he is in part. Trump in Phoenix last night. Cut 2, go.
In several years, when we have accomplished all of our enforcement and deportation goals and truly ended illegal immigration for good, including the construction of a great wall which we will have built in record time and at a reasonable cost, which you never hear from the government. And the establishment of our new lawful immigration system. Then, and only then, will we be in a position to consider the appropriate disposition of those individuals who remain.
I agree with this. In fact, I said this 10 years ago, and I'm not alone. But it is incongruent, because he earlier said that people need to leave the country if they're here or have been here illegally and come through the front door. But here he's saying, okay, once we get all this done, for the people who are still here, then and only then, once we get this done, then we'll be in a position to consider the appropriate disposition of those individuals who remain. Well, which is it? They have to leave and reapply or not? So that is an issue that the Democrats will seize on and exploit, because it's an issue. That's the big issue. What are you going to do with the millions and millions of people who haven't committed crimes, who will not leave and come back legally, who've been here a long time or a period of time? What are you going to do with them? What are you going to do with them? Well, in some ways he does answer that, I believe. If you go over to Right Scoop, over at Right Scoop, which is what I'm doing now, they have a headline, finally Trump just revealed what he's going to do with the 11 million illegals already here. Now, I don't believe it'd be 11 million, it'd be some subset of that when you take out the criminals. And in a radio interview with a host that really has no audience, he said, there's a softening. Look, we do it in a very humane way, and we're going to see with the people that are in the country. Obviously, I want to get the gang members out, the drug peddlers out. I want to get the drug dealers out. We've got a lot of people in this country that you can't have, and those people will get out. And then we're going to make a decision at a later date once everything is stabilized. I think you're going to see there's really quite a bit of softening. I feel strongly that we have stabilized the border. We have to absolutely stabilize the border, and we have to have a strong border. Otherwise, we don't have a country. Okay. So we're going to have a softening with millions and millions of people who are here illegally. Now, then if that's not amnesty, well, what is it? Are we now redefining words? Yes, that's amnesty. Now, look, folks, many can accept it. Once you get the criminals out, once you get the visa violators out, once you cut off the jobs, and I would argue cut off the taxpayer subsidies, where you can, because the courts have, several rulings where the courts have in many respects interfered, but where they haven't, then I think a lot of people will leave. Self-deport. There's nothing wrong with that phrase. Nothing. We can't allow the left to try and tell us what words we can and cannot use. So yes, you self-deport. You can't get a job. You can't get many benefits, so you leave. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing if people are here illegally. But still, he thinks, I think you're going to see there's really quite a bit of softening. What does that mean? He won't say. He won't say. But what I know it means in part is he's not going to deport them. Because if he was going to deport them, he would say, wouldn't he? He said it in November, but he won't say it now. Now, as for the left attacking this as racist and extreme, there's nothing racist or extreme about it. Nothing whatsoever. Sanctuary cities are violating federal law. If states were violating federal law when it comes to Obamacare, or the endless list of federal laws and regulations imposing federal will on states and localities, they would call it nullification. They would run into court, and they'd pound the hell out of them. And yet, when it comes to sanctuary cities, they won't even lift a finger. Obama goes into court. He goes into court and says, I have the power as President of the United States, prosecutorial discretion, to do this, 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 and the other thing. And yet, he claims this power, and yet when it comes to San Francisco and other sanctuary cities and some sanctuary states, Then he seems to think that's a matter of state and local power. Because the ends justifies the means. That's all. They just care about power and advancing their ideology and electing more Democrats and creating more Democrat voters. That's all they care about. They don't care about the people. They don't even care about Democrats. Not the rank and file, anyway. So after this great speech, his 10-point plan, I would have added another point, as I point out, with federal subsidies and so forth, but that doesn't matter. Right away, he says, I think you're going to see there's really quite a bit of softening when it comes to these people who are left. And there's going to be millions and millions of them. So how does that position differ from a Cruz or even Bush? Because he says it's not amnesty? Because he says he's not going to legalize or give a pathway to citizenship? Then what's he going to do? Quite a bit of softening. Means no deportation. Fine. But he won't tell us. Let's go to cut 3, Mr. Producer. Go.
Block funding for sanctuary cities. We block the funding. No more funding. We will end the sanctuary cities that have resulted in so many needless deaths. Cities that refuse to cooperate with federal authorities will not receive taxpayer dollars, and we will work with Congress to pass legislation to protect those jurisdictions that do assist federal authorities.
Outstanding. And that's enforcing the constitutional construct and the rule of law. And the left hates it because they're not for the constitutional construct or the rule of law. Cut 4, go.
We also have to be honest about the fact that not everyone who seeks to join our country will be able to successfully assimilate. Sometimes it's just not going to work out. It's our right as a sovereign nation to choose immigrants that we think are the likeliest to thrive and flourish and love us.
Absolutely. 100% accurate. All these people we're a nation of immigrants. We have always been a nation that has been choosy about our immigrants. Choosy in the sense that they have to show allegiance to America. They have to demonstrate that they will show allegiance to America. They have to demonstrate that they want to assimilate, that they want to be Americanized. They have to demonstrate that they love this country. Otherwise, they don't get to come in. That has been part of our immigration history from the beginning. What kind of a country lets people in who hate it? Who lets people in who won't assimilate and embrace it? The left tells us that's why everybody wants to come here. Oh, they love America. And then when they come here, they're what? They're allowed to create these little nation states within our nation state? Well, Mark, what about the Irish and the Italians and the Jews? What about them? I'm not talking about living within your own neighborhoods if you choose to. Nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about assimilating. There's nothing among the Irish, the Italians, the Germans, I can go down the list, that prevents them from assimilating. But there is something that prevents fundamentalist Muslims from assimilating. The emphasis on fundamentalist Muslims from assimilating. It's called Sharia. Don't ask me, ask them. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.